Welcome everybody. Welcome once again to our urban parking system repository that's been designed and developed in Enterprise Architect. My name's Scott Hebbard. I'm joined today by Stephen McGuire, and today we're going to look at the advanced topic of wireframes. And I think wireframes is a great way for designing applications for web pages and for mobile phones. And so I'm really looking forward to having a look at this advanced topic to see how it can be used in Enterprise Architect for modeling. So welcome, Stephen. How are you today?
Very well, thank you, Scott, and thank you as always for the introduction. Yes, today is a very interesting topic and quite visual, so let's get stuck right into it. So advanced wireframe modeling, and we're going to be using an example of the Apple iPhone. So as always, I like to set my perspective. So up in the top right-hand corner, I've been working on some Amazon Web Service architecture models, and I'm going to drop that down now. I'm going to look at UX design, so user experience design and wireframing. So this is the perspective set. I'm choosing a perspective of wireframes. The tool changes its face now, and we get the builder page popping up. And of course, we've got a whole lot of patterns in here for different phones and different mobile devices and actually websites as well. So I like to do things from first principles, Scott, but anyone can use this very productively by choosing one of the patterns and choosing the Create Model button, and that will inject that entire model into your repository and act as a starting point. But let's do things from first principles. We close that one. I worked on some models previously for the introductory and the intermediate wireframing. So let's see if we can find those. Quick way to do that. I'm going to use Control F on my keyboard, bring up the Find In project. I'm just going to type in Apple there. And I drop that down and I look through this. There's a number of different apples there in the text. So there's someone called Roger Appleton Smith. We don't want that one. We want this Apple iPhone here. Kind of easy to find, and stereotype wireframing there. I'm going to right mouse click on that and say Find in all diagrams. Yep. And you can see it's appearing in two diagrams. Let's have a look at the model we did, or the diagram we did first for the introductory one. So this is the diagram we did. We created an Apple iPhone, chose it from the palette there, and we chose a number of controls and different Apple controls and put them on there, including calendars and drop downs and things. So that was the model that we did. We then went on to do something a little more interesting in terms of traceability, Scott. And so we'll just find this one in the project browser. I can go in here and look for Find in Browser, but I can also just use this locator one up here in the browser context bar there. That will find the model. And you can see there's another one here called Apple Reservation Phone App with Connections. Let's open that one up. And now you can see the power of Enterprise Architect. And let's do something else, Scott. Let's open up our traceability window, which is not showing at the moment. So we can go here to Design, and we can look for the trace window there. That brings up that window, and we can look at these connections. So you can see now that we can see the connections between different parts of our model. Very, very powerful. So we've got all sorts of things from the location, which is one of our drop-down combo boxes there. We've got this one here, which is the calendar, which is coming from a session that's got start time and end times there. And we've even got a persona. Teresa, 28-year-old doctor, and she's got an EV, and as a motorist, I want to be able to locate a nearby parking meter. So that's what we did. But we're going to concentrate on something different. That was just a bit of a recap, Scott. What we're going to concentrate on now is to look at doing something different, which is to say, look, let's create a number of different pages. So this is only one of our pages. So let's have a look and see if we can create another page. So we'll bring up, organizing something on another screen here. So let's create a page for reviewing the booking. So we've made those choices. Let's create another one for a booking. So what we're going to do is create a new diagram here, Scott, and we'll just call it Apple Reservation, and we'll call it Apple Reservation, and we'll call it Confirmation. So with that done, we're going to choose a particular diagram type, and we want an Apple wireframe. So create the diagram. Notice the toolbox is there for us. I'm going to drop another iPhone onto there. In portrait or landscape, it's in portrait. There we go. And I'm just going to put a few things on it. So one of them I'm going to put on, I want a title or a text field. Let's put a text field on there, or a simple text block. Let's do that. And we'll call it review booking. So important to remember, Scott, that all of these elements in Enterprise Architect can be modified by using the layout ribbon. And I'm going to choose the style panel and the little capital A, which is representing the font. And I'm going to put that up to a different font. I'm going to say it's bold, and let's go for something like 12 there.
So you could even use a font that's on the Apple phone, so
Exactly.
that it looks more realistic. And yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So let's do that. And let's not concentrate too much on the details, because what I want to do is show you something a bit different in terms of navigation. So what we do is put a button on this thing. So we've got our title on the page. We're going to put a button at the bottom, and we're going to call this button, we're going to call it confirm and pay.
Yep.
So that one can just move there. Okay, so having done that, Scott, let's go back and look at our previous diagram. And I'm not going to look at this one. We'll put this one away because we're actually focusing on navigation. So
yes,
here's our original one here. We've got this new diagram here for a confirm and pay. So it's going to have like a cost breakdown and all sorts of other things on it, on this diagram. But let's go back to this one and look at a little trick we've got. This button here, I can right mouse click on it, and this applies to any other element in the repository, almost every other element. And under the context menu, I've got new child diagram, and I can select a composite diagram. So it's not choosing a new one, I'm choosing a new connection. So let's select composite diagram there, and let's have a look and see what we're going to do. We're going to choose the diagram that we just looked at. So it's in analysis models, and it's in wireframe models, and we've got the confirmation, Apple reservation confirmation. So let's choose that one, and let's have a look what happens. What I'm going to do, Scott, is I'm also going to make this not selectable, because while I'm working with the elements, I prefer not to have them selectable. And that applies to the phone itself as well. So while I'm passing, I'm just going to do that, and I'll say, look, let's make that not selectable. That way, if I'm selecting
can't accidentally move it on screen.
Yeah. So for example, if I was to say, look, I really want to get the location and level things moved, I'm just using the arrow, the shift key and the arrows on my keyboard. I can do that without having the phone selected. So very useful. Let's have a look now. I'll save that diagram. You can see there's a little asterisk up in the tab there saying that it's dirty, or it's got changes that haven't been saved. Control S on the keyboard, save that. Let's have a look when I click through on this reserve button now. I come straight through.
So it takes you to the new diagram.
Takes me to the new diagram. So let's continue this.
So you could have a whole series of screens that you could click through to show each step in the process.
Exactly, Scott. So let's do exactly what you said, and let's choose this again, and we'll say new diagram, and it defaults to our wireframing, Apple wireframing.
Yep.
Let's call this one not about the app reservation, but let's call it pay. All right.
Yep.
So again, we'll create the diagram, and again, we're going to put another phone onto this one in portrait view, and let's just put something on here that will remind us that it's that's what's happening. So we'll choose a simple text block again, and I'll put on there select payment. Payment type, and I've got a typo there. Enterprise Architect does the work there. I've made the typo on that, and I'll go select, and it's not close enough, Scott, to find that word. So it's a very bad spelling mistake, in fact. Select payment type. That's okay, and remember again, we can do these font settings as well. And let's just do that, and we'll put it up a little bit again. Let's make it 14 bold, and we could choose a different font if we wanted to, and let's put that across there. Select payment type, so we know what we're doing. And let's put a pay button on here as well, just so we're kind of completely sure what we're up to. So that's what we're going to do. We'll put that, move this thing into the middle. I'll just select it properly and move it. Remember, I can line this up with the using the alignment panel of the layout ribbon. Just say I want that aligned. So that's aligning the phone and the little button up as well.
So it's in the middle.
Let's save that and go back to our one here. And let's now choose this button and right mouse click. So exactly the same thing again. And we're going to select the composite diagram. And again, we choose our urban parking system. And Scott, there is a search there as well if you can't find it. I happen to remember where these are, but it's very easy to search and find that one. So now this was our phone app confirmation. That's it there. Let's go OK to that and save that. And let's click through on this one to come to that. So let's just close these other ones.
So imagine you could do that with a web page as well and have a whole series of, you know, payment things on a web page to step you through the process.
Yeah, that's right, Scott. It's exactly right. The same mechanism can be applied, and that's what I'm hoping people will get out of the training. We can't cover every single scenario, and the tool is so large that there's so many different things that people do with the tool. And this is a mechanism that you can use for any type of connection between things. Even if the things aren't logically connected in the real world, you could use it as a navigation piece to get to different diagrams from.
And then on top of that, you can link to, you know, database designs and requirement specifications as well, which gives it a great deal of depth. So it's not just a drawing, but underneath that drawing can be detailed system specifications. So,
exactly. Yeah. Now, Scott, I just clicked through all the way through to pay, and I'm not going to pay for parking today. I'm in the middle of the city, and I think that might be quite expensive. So I'm going to backtrack here, and you look at the tab here, Apple Reservation Pay, and you can see a little arrow on the right-hand side of that tab. That takes me back to where I came from. It's like following the breadcrumb back where I came from. So this was
just
the
like
payment
a web
page.
browser.
Yeah, and then we got confirm pay the review booking one, and then back here to the actual app. And remember that, you know, these things are all connected as well. So just to remind you of that, each one of those pages could have those connections. So when we go to the confirm page, we're reviewing the booking, we could have all sorts of connections through to data elements, requirements, you know, protocols, constraints, anything at all. And that's what makes this so powerful. I'm very aware that there are other wireframing tools around that people use, but what I encourage people to do is to look at the benefit of this tool, of Sparx Systems Enterprise Architect, to be able to model things and have this traceability, right? That is the power of it, not just for this screen, but for all the screens. So incredibly powerful to be able to connect and unify people together and allow them to collaborate across all sorts of disciplines. Scott, I'm going to get you to do some time travel magic. I want to finish these pages off, and we'll come back in just a few seconds.
Welcome back. We've done a little bit of time travel magic, and now we've completed some of our diagrams. So, Stephen, if you can take us through the new diagrams and tell us what you've done, that'd be great.
Be delighted to, Scott. So what we did was we added this hyperlink effectively from the reserve button there. Let's click on that. Now we come through to a more complete picture. So we've got a review booking. We've got, it's at the Olympic Park, level. I think we've got a different level in there. I'll just expand that a little bit more. Yeah, level 2 there, and move that across there a little bit as well. And we've got the hours displayed and the amount of time that's actually being used as well. So there's a progress indicator there. We've got this selection thing here to say that EV charging has been selected, but car wash and wax hasn't. You can see the different the different intensity of the tick there. And we've got a cost breakdown that's listing those things. Let's just have a quick look at that, Scott. It's interesting. There's a memo there, and we can change some of the values there. So it's a very useful thing to be able to put some relevant text in there so that people can get into context. We've got our confirm and pay button there. I'll save this diagram as we go through, and we go through to the payment page. So Olympic Park level 2, 3 hours from 9 a.m. till 11, $75. Select the payment type. We've got an existing card, add a new card, or pay using Apple Pay, Google Pay. We've
Looking
got
at the
those buttons.
Google Pay, I can see there's a bit of color there. Have you been able to insert an image or something to get that to work?
Yeah, that's right, Scott. Let's have a look, and we can backtrack on that and do exactly what you suggested there. If I right mouse click on that and say let's find in the browser using the little find context item in the browser,
Yep.
and you can see now that actually is an image there, and it's just been
Yep.
used on the diagram. So remember, Scott, you can put any number of images into the diagram. So that's a very useful thing to do. Let's have a look at, see whether there's.
So if you wanted to insert a picture of the car space, you could, or the
Yeah,
logo for the parking company, you could do that as well.
yeah,
quite
exactly,
easily.
Scott.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. I think this one might be. What's this model's wireframe? Is this the one? Yeah, that's not the one I was looking for. Let's have another quick look at and see if I can find another. Just looking for custom diagram style. I mean, see if we can find that. Oh, I've got lots and lots of things that have come up there. I probably won't be able to find quickly the one.
Yeah, look, it's fine. We can easily add an image icon, so that's fine.
Yeah. Okay. So look, that's it for this topic on this advanced topic on wireframing. You can see the power of having that connection between different pages on the iPhone and being able to express those. So I encourage people to use this. It's very powerful, whether you're doing mobile phones, tablets, web pages.
Excellent. Well, thanks very much for that, Stephen. It's been great to see how easy it is to insert hyperlinks, to connect multiple screens on a phone together, to be able to insert images, to be able to link to a whole lot of complex systems analysis and design content that sits underneath the visual wireframe and design. So that's been wonderful. As always, we encourage you to have a look at the Sparx Systems YouTube channel to look at hundreds of other videos on Enterprise Architect and other Sparx Systems products. If you have any questions about wireframe design or modeling in general, you can reach out to Stephen via his LinkedIn or website credentials that are listed in the video description below. We look forward to you joining us for more videos in the future. Once again, thanks for all your time and effort, Stephen. Greatly appreciated.
My pleasure, Scott. And just quickly, just recapping about images and the use of color. Here's a diagram that you can see, a custom diagram style that's got lots of different images and colors in it. So again, you could use lots of these kind of images in your wireframe models as well. But
thanks for showing that example. That's great.
Always a pleasure, Scott.